Hey guys, for today's Ableton tutorial, we're going to be writing a song from scratch, absolutely from scratch, and I'm just going to do a multi-part series here, and it's going to be me creating an entire song, mixing it, and perhaps mastering it in one series. So let's get started here. As you can see, this is a blank Ableton set. First thing I like to do when I start a new set is get some drums in. So let's drag in a drum rack, because I prefer to use a drum rack over samples. And that's what drum rack is for. There's many ways to do it though. Ableton has many ways to do everything, and it's good to learn different ways. The alternative to using a drum rack is to use an audio track for each one of your samples and align them like you would in, say, FL Studio or Pro Tools. Okay, so here we go. In the bottom left, you can see the drum rack here. It's every triggerable MIDI note. If I go on my MIDI keyboard, you can see where they are on here, and you can also play them on your real keyboard, as you can see right here. But what I'm gonna do is drag in some samples. I'm not going to be using the Ableton stock samples, and for this series I'm probably going to be using X for Serum, or Transfer if you like to call it that. Probably either some Vengeance or some Black Octopus drum samples. F Expansion Decam Synth Squad Strobe. The Waves plugin bundle for mastering, and perhaps some Isotope stuff too. So let's just get started. Let's go to the drums. And what I like to do when I first start out is drag in any old kick. We're going to change this later, just letting you know once we write the melody. But this is temporary, so we can build something to work off of. So let's grab a just any old kick. It's a little loud. Let me turn this down so you guys don't get that much of a feedback. Doesn't really matter, we just want a kick. Let's just get a basic hi-hat. This may stay or may not. And then let's grab a snare drum. Or actually, let's do a clap. You know what, actually, let's assign these to their own drum tracks. So what I'm going to do is drag this hat out, and it's going to create a second drum rack for the hat. And let's rename this hat, and let's rename this kick, and let's do this a third time. Let's do a clap. Let's drag it out rather than dragging in a new drum rack every time. We're gonna name this clap, and that's completely temporary. We're going to be working on a clap here. Let's grab a couple smaller claps like this. Like this. Let's just grab that. And let's just take the best out of all three. A little bit too much tail on that one. And what I'm going to do is compile the three together. So now that we have the three main elements of like I say, a house loop, let's actually put some MIDI in. So we're gonna double click to open the MIDI window. Gonna click on every 4. That's a 4 to the floor rhythm, like any house song. Let's minimize this here. Let's double click on the hat. Let's do one on every off note, on every off 8th note, and that's how we get this shuffled hat. We're going to double click on the clap, and for the clap we're going to do something different. We're going to be putting a clap on each one of the every other 4 counts. Well, every other first one's 4 counts, the second one is 8. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to shift the claps by turning the grid off. We're going to shift one of the claps forward. We're going to enable the headphones so we can hear what we're doing. I kind of want that one a little bit forward, and let's play it. Oops. Actually, that's fine. we want a little bit of analog to it, so we're going to kind of shift them out of whack. So some of them are different than others. Let's shift these ones a little bit forward as well. That's to create that squack that you hear in house music all the time. This also needs a snare, so let's go in here and grab a snare. And let's take some EQ to that so we can eliminate some of that low end and give it a little bit of a high boost. We're going to put a note here, or I'm sorry, let's turn the grid back on so we can see what we're doing currently. And then that's always going to be on the beat. Let's shift that other clap off a little bit so we have a little bit more that analog sound. And let's shift these ones back because they're a little bit too early. When you're designing a clap, it's very important to just play around with it for a long time, and eventually you'll have something you like. Okay, so now on the master bus of this this clap, as you can see right here, this is the this particular one for the snare. Right here is the one for the everything in that drum rack. Let's drag this here and let's eliminate all the low end because we don't need that in a clap. It's only going to cause mud. And let's see what we're looking at here. Let's eliminate a little bit of the mids. I'm just going to disable 3 and 4. 2, we can give a slight boost because that's where that snare is hitting. And let's give it a little bit of high-end crispness. Let's turn that down because it's a little loud so we aren't clipping, and we have a temporary clap. Okay, so now let's go to the hat and give that a play. And to compensate for that volume we reduced in the clap, we're going to reduct volume in the hat as well. Next thing we're going to do is put some EQ on that hat. We're going to do a similar kind of thing. We're going to eliminate the low end and we're going to boost a little bit of the high end. We're going to make this into a bell curve instead of a high pass filter, and we're going to play that, sounding a little bit better. For that clap, actually, I'm going to include a little bit of compression. If you don't know what compression is, you can easily look up a tutorial for it. It's a way to kind of make your sound more flat and compressed. And it's very good on things like drums that need it. Okay, so let's go to the clap and let's play. We're going to lower that threshold a little bit. We're going to decrease the attack time just for now to see what we're looking at here. Give it a little bit more increase, a little bit more ratio. Lower that threshold a little bit more. Increase the release time. Let's go back to this and lower that gain makeup, and let's lower that down a little bit in the mix. Actually, let's bring that up a little bit. Okay, now let's throw in that kick drum that we had earlier. And let's turn that tempo up to the signature 128. I currently don't like how this clap is shifting. I'm only going to move it a little bit. Okay, that's better. Let's work on a synth now. For that, we're going to use X for Serum, like I said earlier. And let's just go ahead and bust those drums together so we know that these are all drums. We're going to select them all and hit group and drums. Let's color these pink so we know that they are drums. Everything pink. Cool. So we have the drum bus now, and let's work on the synth bus. So we're gonna name this bass, and let's just write out a simple bass line. I'm gonna turn this down 1 octave to start, and we're going to start here. Actually, let me leave this as default neutral, and let's turn down the octave on the MIDI keyboard. It just makes it easier if you want to transfer patches later. So let's double click here, and let's write out a nice bass line. Let's go for something kind of electro-esque. So let's do a note on every offbeat like the hi-hat was. And we're going to draw a note here. And let's hit the headphone button so we can hear what we're doing. Now let's hit play on that bass. Now from this stage, as you can see, I wrote all the notes in C. What we're going to do is we're going to replace that kick drum with that bass line note. So as you can see, the song is now in C, and we're going to tune that kick drum, but rather than tuning it, we're going to replace the sample with a C, a kick in C. This is a kick in A, as it says, live kick A 13. One thing I really like about the Black Octopus kits is that they label their samples by key, and they run them through a key scanner to just get them ready to use in the studio. So we're gonna use a C note. Just go through these real fast, and actually I don't like any of these C bass lines, so let's actually go to a different note. That is a sharp, and let's just scroll down and find A sharp if it exists. I don't believe it does, so let's just go to an A. And I believe that our kick was already an A. Yes. So we don't actually have to tune this if I was to leave it an A. But as you can hear, the kick and the bass are now working a lot better together. This is something that a lot of producers overlook. The kick drum is such a sine-based sound, and it carries a key with it. And a lot of people think it's just percussive, like a snare or a hat. But with a kick drum, you have to tune it to the song. Like when you hear a hip hop track or a trap track, and all of the bass, the kick drums kind of fade out like a boom. That's because, or that only sounds good because it's in key, and you have to apply that same mindset to most genres of music. So this is in A. The bass line's in A, and the kick is now in A. So let's let's get back into the melody here, and yeah. So now we know this is the bass track. Let's color this yellow, just because I like to stay organized, and you should as well. So let's go into Serum again, and we're going to work on a basic bass patch here. So let's hit play. What I'm going to do is enable a filter on that, and we're going to bring that all the way down. We're going to hit the envelope 2 because envelope 1 controls the native master amplitude of the synthesizer, and envelope 2 is unmapped. So we're going to drag that onto cutoff, and we're going to make a kind of a punchy envelope here, so that it's going to go full power and then fade directly down. It's kind of like a pluck, but with a bass line it sounds more like a punch. We're going to drag this cutoff a little bit down, so we're only going to get the mid frequencies, not that buzzy high end. It kind of defines the bass line a little bit more. And let's turn the resonance down, and let's see what we got from this point on. So let's give it a little bit more high end, and turn that modulation a little bit farther down. Okay, so let's throw a sub or an octave below under that. So to do that, we're going to enable oscillator B. We're going to bring that down an octave, and we're going to press oscillator B on the filter so that the filter controls oscillator B as well as oscillator 1. So let's hit play. That's a little bit deep. I'm going to switch this to a basic shapes, and we're going to use a sine wave instead. So you get the sub frequencies, but it's not nasty like a triangle or square wave, or I'm sorry, a triangle or a saw wave. So that's sounding pretty good. Next thing we're going to do is to EQ that bass, and we're going to take out some of those really low frequencies so they don't conflict with the kick drum. To do that, we're going to turn up the Q, and we're going to use a high pass shelf, or yeah, a high pass shelf, and we're going to disable everything else on this channel. And the key to EQing is to always eliminate what doesn't need to be there. We're going to eliminate some of the high end as well, and this can be a little bit less of a Q. All we need is to alleviate some of that high end. So let's add another MIDI track, and let's work on some chords for that. We're going to drag in Serum again, and let's do a kind of harmony to that what we just did. So let's copy that bass line actually and take that up an octave. So let's enable that, and then we're going to make the harmonies of this, so we're going to take it up a few notes. And let's get into the EQ again, and let's eliminate some of those low end frequencies so that we don't conflict with the bass line. So let's do this and drag up just like we did on the bass, but this time we're going to alleviate a lot more of them because we need to leave space for the bass as well as the kick drum. So we're going to hit play now. So let's make this double the length it currently is by going down to the length here, and we're going to make this 2 bars instead of 1, and let's actually make that complete 4, because 4 is a complete phrase. So let's duplicate what we have here by hitting Control or Command D, and then let's do that 3 times, and let's actually write something here. So and let's just play around with the melody here. And really, it's just a matter of trial and error when you're writing a melody, unless you actually know like a whole ton of piano theory. I'm just guessing currently. So let's just keep going here. And let's actually do this in triplet, see how that sounds. Okay, so let's make that into 8 measures, or I'm sorry, 8 bars long, and let's duplicate it again, and let's actually write a finisher on that line. Let's see. So we're just playing around with the note patterns here. Okay, that's cool. And we're going to make this a little bit better of a patch because I don't want it to be kind of 8-bit like it is currently. So let's just go into Serum again, and let's actually turn the unison up to around 7, and let's detune that a little bit. And let's play that back to see how it sounds. So as you can see over here in the master bus, we're clipping a little bit, so let's turn that serum down. And to add a little bit of high to this, let's add a second oscillator. Let's turn it up an octave like we did with the bass line, except we're going up now. And let's turn the unison up to 7, and let's detune that a little bit more. And with that last note, let's just make that longer. I think that'll be better. So the next thing we're gonna do is add a little bit of reverb to that sound. It's kind of dry currently, so let's do an effects bus and let's do a reverb, and let's turn the mix up a little bit. We're gonna turn the size down, turn down the pre-delay, and let's turn the dampening up a little bit. Probably a little bit of high cut and a little bit of low cut. A little bit more high cut and a little bit more low cut. Mix down a little bit more high cut. A little less high cut. Turn the size down a little bit and let's turn up the low cut. Let's just play around with these settings a little bit until we get something we like. Let's turn that master down a little bit so we aren't clipping out of the serum gate. Let's give that a little bit more of a boost in the actual bus. We're gonna name this, let's say, saw. What we're gonna do now is color this pink. Or no, let's do a red actually, because the drums are already pink. So let's go back to the bass line and make that 8 measures as well, because this has to correspond directly with the lead. Now that we've made the saw 8 measures long, we have to make the bass line 8 measures long. So let's grab the notes we had here and duplicate them a ton of times so that we can get started in this bass line. And what we need to do is find notes that harmonize well with the lead we just wrote. So here we go. Cool, that's working. Let's actually write a lead here. So to do that, let's add another MIDI track. And now that we have the bass and the saw as red and yellow, let's do a green for the lead and name this lead. Let's do another instance of Serum. I'm gonna avoid strobe at all possible so I can save you guys having to get it, because it's a very unpopular synth. Okay, so here we are. We have the lead Serum in now, and we're going to, I think we're going to go for a more like portamento kind of sliding lead. So let's first of all, let's turn the unison up to, let's say, 3. Turn the detune down a little bit. Let's turn that octave up again, and let's do a 3 unison lead on the top too. And let's do a portamento. We're going to enable always port. Instead of just flowing when the notes are next to each other, we're going to turn the port up to around, let's say, 80, as close as I can get to 80. And when I play 2 notes next to each other, they slide. Let's turn that up a little bit more. A little bit more. It's too much. Halfway is good, I think. Nope, still too much. So when we actually write the melody, we can play with that. So let's double click on this track. Let's make it 8 bars long, and let's write a melody out. So first thing we're going to do is enable that headphone button like always, and let's do start with 16th notes. So we're going to go right here and select 16th, and let's actually just write out something. Octave jump, maybe that would sound cool. Yeah. And let's just take this whole thing down an octave. pretty rad. And let's do another bass note. And let's do a duplicate of what we have here. So let's actually just copy all this. And let's play from the beginning so we can play in time with the MIDI. I kind of like that. Nah, it doesn't work. No. On second thought, I don't like this idea. Let's just go back to what we had. Let's do that. Actually, I'm going to save that for the last bar. Let's duplicate that, and let's cool, and let's just make sure everything's in rhythm here. Quantize, or that doesn't work. Quantize settings, and we're going to set it to 16th because we've been writing in 16th, and let's just quantize everything. Cool, that's sounding pretty cool. I think this is where we're going to cut for the first episode. I'm not going to work on this at all until the next episode I see you guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode of this new series I'm doing of just making a track on the fly. So if you like the video, give it a like. If you disliked it, dislike it. Please comment what you thought of it, and subscribe if you want more videos like this. So thanks for watching, guys. This is Julian Gray of Julian Gray Media, and I will talk to you guys next time.